Good morning. We're going to be doing Rafe's morning routine. So I'll be showing you what step by step what we do in the morning when we're getting our exercises and the yoga and before we get him up to the chair. So here's how we start. So Rafe is on the side of the bed, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab a hold of his pad and I'm going to use it to lift him up, his upper body. And we're just going to kind of get him towards the center. And then I'll come down here and grab him underneath and pull him that way. So now he's kind of centered. And how I get him to warm up is I'll grab underneath his knees and we'll just kind of rock back and forth to kind of loosen things up. This is a good way for him just to get some movement. For a little bit, and then I'll give him his knees.
Now I'll take my knees and rock them back and forth several times. Loosen up my hips.
And while he's doing that, I'll be at the foot of the bed. And as he comes down, I'll grab his legs and bring him down to about my thighs, right about here. So he's planted. And I'm going to grab his hands. He's going to lift himself up. And he's going to do another stretch. So ideally, we try to do everything about 2 times, 2 rounds. So every stretch we try to do twice to get a more thorough stretch. Again. All right, make sure he's kind of just straight. Doing those stretches where he's at an angle or
There's a little bit of divots in the bed, so sometimes my hips will get kind of off center.
yeah, just make sure his hips line up with his shoulders and feet, everything like that. And then we'll start down here with his foot, and what we're going to do here is a plantar flexion stretch where you're basically going to just take the palm of your hand and cup his heel, the bottom of his heel. And then you're going to use your forearm and you're going to turn towards, kind of just towards the wall, towards his head. You want to push his foot where his toes are at. The balls of his feet will be on your forearm. You just kind of want to push towards the foot of the bed. Not real hard, just enough so you could just feel a stretch. And from here, you'll bring his knee up, and I like to just control his leg by sticking my hand underneath his knee. That just helps me control it. Now bring it up here, and bring his foot underneath, right underneath his leg like this, and then over top of his knee. Try not to touch this part of the knee, just more of the thigh. I'm just going to bring his hip up, and this is another stretch that we do. And we're stretching his hip flexor area and his back.
This one feels really good for the hip flexor to release.
Yeah, from standing, or sitting a lot, those muscles tend to get tense. So I'll give him his leg and he'll do his stretch, and I'll add a little traction just by grabbing his right above his ankle. And I'm not really like pulling, I'm just kind of leaning back, and that's offering enough traction to kind of loosen things up. And then from there, grab his knee once again and then his hip, and I'll turn it over. And he'll do a nice little stretch here.
And my main job is to focus on my breathing and relaxing, which is what you should be doing as well.
Alright, then we'll bring his leg up. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we'll rotate twice on every side. So same concept of grabbing his bottom of his heel with the palm, or with the palm of my hand. The balls of his foot on my forearm, just kind of push him up a little bit. Just a little tension.
Spring all out for less. 4 bags of Scott's Earthborough colored mulch for just $10. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. While supplies last, selection varies by store, U.S. only.
Same thing. Bring his knee up. Up there. Once again, I'll bring his hip over. Full stretcher. Once again, we'll start over again, do our second rotation, same stretch. Knee up.
The more you can focus on your breathing, and just focusing on breathing in and out, the more effective the yoga will be.
And as somebody who's stretch and rate, you know, a good thing is pay attention to your own body. So if you're feeling like you're overexerting yourself, then it's okay to make that adjustment. You know, you don't want to be overexerting or using too much muscle during these stretches. The whole point is just to do the technique and just be aware of your own body and where it's positioned at. So if you're uncomfortable, just switch your stance. You're bending over too much. Just good things to be aware of.
It's okay. Yes, you can see that thing. That's fine.
once again, we're going to move right towards the middle of the bed. And there's a couple ways you can do it. You can use the pad underneath, but like right now, you know, he's kind of off the pad. So what I'm going to do is come up towards his armpits, and I'm going to take my hands, I'm just going to cup his armpits, get underneath there, and just move him. I'm using my knees and my, you know, it's not just upper body, it's my whole body. I'm getting my whole body into it, moving him. So, like I said, don't try and use muscle, it's just technique of moving. So slight little adjustments I make, like taking his knees and just kind of centering him. And so he's about as close to being centered on the bed. And while he's in this position, we're going to cross his legs into a Lotus position. As his legs are crossed, I'm going to go ahead and grab his arms and pull himself up. And then he'll do his stretches.
So I'll hook my right forearm underneath my right knee, and then I will stretch and kind of balance myself. So it's a good balancing pose, and opening the left shoulder. The stretch really helps to open up my inner thigh and hip flexor in the back of my hip as well. And complete this with a spinal twist. Okay.
Once Rafe's in this position, all we're going to do is bring one leg out. Just kind of center this one a little more, and then he's going to do another stretch. Side, this leg out, bring this one in. So where his foot, it kind of touches his knee, his inner knee.
You also want to pay attention to, I'm pretty flexible, so I can do pretty deep stretches, but for other people, you might want to just take it very easy and just stretch a little bit, and then let your body relax, and then you can go a little bit deeper.
Yes, please don't force the stretch. It's not what you want to do. And then from here, I'll bring his legs out. He's going to do a nice groin stretch. So from here, bring Rafe's legs together, and then I'll come up top on the bed and grab his underneath his knees once again, bring him up. This time I'm going to bring his legs up to my chest, and how I'm doing that is I have both my hands wrapped around his ankles, and I'll bring them up, straight up, just like that, and just kind of rest them. And then from here, I'm going to grab the outside of his feet, instep, and I'll bring his legs out this way. So we're going to kind of do a bicycle movement. Just nice and easy. This is another good way to loosen up his legs, his back. And while you're doing this, just keep in mind, I mean, if your back is getting tired or something's going on, you don't feel comfortable, just like I said, make that adjustment. I'm not using too much muscle by doing this. So, you know, some of these exercises, you should not be using your muscle, it's just technique. And where I'm grabbing and where I'm moving is just something to be just aware of. Alright, then I'll bring his legs together. Over here. Bring his legs down. And then from here, we're going to move them back to the edge of the bed. So what I'll do the same thing. I'm going to cup underneath his armpits. And see where my knees and my elbows meet? It kind of locks me in, and I can just kind of move them just like that. And I'll come over here and I'll move them, his lower body. What I'm doing here is just tucking the pad, because now he's going to roll over on his stomach. So what I do here is I'll bring his left leg up, and then I'll reach right over to his shoulder blade. And as I'm doing that, I'm pulling his body towards me. It doesn't take much to do it. And I'll straighten out this leg. So he's on his side. What I'll do is I'll go ahead, take my hands, and go right underneath his chest. And I'll just lift him up. 1, 2, 3. Now he's on his stomach. Just like that. Out of the way. Okay, this next stretch is a really good hip flexor stretch. What you want to do here is that small sacrum bone right here. You want to just put a little pressure here, so that kind of holds it in. And what I'm going to do here is cut underneath his knee, and then I'm going to lean forward into this. You want to use your body when you're doing this, not just your arms. So right above his knee, I'm cupping.
Camera so you can see your lips.
I'm just going to lean forward and lift his leg up. Not very high, just high enough off the bed. What I'll do is I will switch switch legs. Like I was showing you, I'll show you here. Right above the knee. And just kind of lean forward. That brings that leg up. Switch sides. Now, if you're having trouble doing it that way, you can also do it this way, where you can come on the inside of his thigh, grab the same point, and you can also lean this way. Same thing on this. You can come on the inside of the leg and just lean right into it. I'm not using much arm strength. I'm just kind of just using my body. So just think in terms of that. Then we're going to do a good quad stretch. Same thing, same concept. I'm going to bring his knee up though. From here, you can do it either a couple ways. You can bring his leg up over here, put your hand on the sacrum, and then same hand is going to go above the knee, and you're just going to lift up. The other stretch was more of a hip flexor. This one's more of the quad. Same thing on the other side. Bring this leg up. Come around. Put your hand right here. Switch. So this next stretch, really what I'm going to be doing is putting my hand on his neck and one hand on his calf. And while he inhales, I wait for an inhalation. As he exhales, you're going to be applying pressure from his calf to his neck. It doesn't have to be a lot of pressure, just enough, just a little bit of weight, that's all. So watch watch him inhale and then exhale, and as he exhales, that's when I apply the pressure.
Ready to sleep great and save big? This is Randy Mancini inviting you to our Best Buy mattress sale. We've drastically reduced.
And then I'll switch legs. Go to his right leg, or left leg, excuse me.
Certa Eye Comfort, CD Posturepedic, and more. Hurry in for this limited offer.
So this is what it looks like. As he inhales, exhale, and I'll put my hand on top of his calf and his neck. Inhale again, and we'll switch legs. And then exhale, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. It's not a lot of pressure, just enough for a stretch. The next stretch we're going to do is we're going to be applying pressure to his shoulder blades. It's kind of the same concept as the other stretch, except for my hands are going to be in different spots. So here's this sacrum right here. So I'm going to put my hand there, and then as I do that, I'm going to put my hand on his shoulder blade. And put my body into it a little bit, and that allows some leverage. I'm not using all my body weight, just enough to give him a good stretch. And I'll switch sides. Then another stretch I like to do is just come by his hips. I'll put my hand same place with shoulder blades, but for his hip, I'll kind of put the pressure down there, and that'll allow for another good stretch. this is another thing we do in the morning. Is this a little massage? I'm gonna switch sides. I'm usually on this side, but I'm gonna switch sides here. Basically, when I start, I'm just starting from Rafe's neck area and just kind of working my hands through his neck, and I work down to his shoulders, and I spend some focus between his shoulder blades, because that's where a lot of the tension gets built up, right between his spine and his scapula meet. There's this area in here that gets really tight, and there's knots in there, and it's like a clenched fist sometimes, so you got to kind of get in there and just work at it. And I use my thumbs, my fingers, just kind of dig in there, or you can use, you know, parts of your elbow if you need more pressure. You can get your whole body into it. But not too much pressure. You don't want to pop anything or pull anything out of joint.
But a fair amount of pressure.
But a fair amount of pressure, yes. And that's why I like to use my fingers, so I can feel what I'm doing. Underneath the armpit. That's a massage. See what I did there is I just switched my position because I wasn't feeling comfortable sitting like that. So, you know, if you need to get in here like I am, feel comfortable. The whole point of being able to do this with Rafe in the morning is that you're not overexerting your body once again. So just pay attention to how your back's feeling. If back's getting tired, just switch positions. One side, and then I'll come over to the other, and I'll work the other. His right side is a little bit more tense than his left side. He uses his right side for typing, and right-handed, of course, so you'll feel a lot more tension on this side. Feel comfortable there, so we'll switch positions. Come over here, and I can come at it from a different angle. From here, just gonna work my way down. If I feel some knots in between there, that's fine. Once I get this sacral bone right about here, what I like to do is put some pressure down, and then just kind of make sure, it's kind of like a pushing technique of just rubbing down the sides of his this area of his lower back, his buttocks. So another place where tension sitting long periods of time builds up. What you can do too is take the palms of your hands and just kind of dig in there and kind of kneading. There's a lot of muscles, tissue in here. Just some basic massage techniques. Okay, so we're gonna do another stretch for Rafe. It's the more advanced one. Take your time with this. Like I said, body mechanics technique are the main factors, not muscling through it. So we don't want you to hurt yourself. That's an important part of this. You not getting hurt. So make sure Rafe's body's aligned. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna stick the pad right about there. Where his heels are at, right in between his buttocks, right in that area, bam. And then we're gonna be using a bolster, which is in the closet. So what you're gonna do now is get on the bed with Rafe right over him. You're gonna take your hands and just kind of get underneath his chest, and you're gonna lift him up so he's on his elbows. So right here he's supported. And then I just kind of make sure that his legs are spread far enough. He's kind of in the right, he's lined up with his body. And then what I'll do here is I'm going to get up towards his upper body. I'm going to come on underneath with my hands once again to his chest. And I'm going to be grabbing my hands. Now, however you want to do that, whatever's comfortable, you want to clasp them like that, or you want to grab them like this, like a wrestler hold, that's fine. And you can also grab your wrist. That's how I do it. So I come underneath, grab my wrist, make sure my back's straight, and then you're going to just count. And while you're counting, you're going to do the rocking, this kind of rocking motion. So we'll go on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, as I do that, I'm pulling Rafe up. Pulling him up with my hands. And as he gets here, I'll take the bolster where his lower back's at. And he's going to kind of just drape himself over that. And I'll just support his neck. And then I'll come over here and make sure he's aligned. Make sure he's not one way or another too far. Just straighten up just a little bit. Make sure the pillow is underneath his lower back. That's the important part. And from here, I like to use his neck pillow for neck support. So I'll just put that underneath his neck. He'll kind of rest here for just, a few minutes. He'll get a good stretch